evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jeremy Duncan, the host of TXK Conversations, part of the TXK State of Mind podcast. Tonight, we're going to have two amazing leaders from the Washington Community Development Center. Welcome them to the stage for a conversation about their organization. In its essence, WCDC's aim is to assist members of the community in enhancing their quality of life through the promotion of awareness for both children and adults, as well as providing financial and other forms of assistance to families. Tonight, they're going to be on hand with us to discuss their plans to achieve this by utilizing the center as a central hub for hosting classes, programs, and community events. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jasmine Bruce and Madeline Haak to the stage. Ladies, welcome.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Jeremy. And first of all, thank you so much for just inviting us to be on here.
Yes.
My friend Madeline just got done doing a workout and she's rushing, so she may not make it today,
Right.
But she's here in spirit. She's one of my colleagues that helps a lot over at the center, but we're just really excited and thankful that you invited us here.
Yes, ma'am. We had a little chat before we started, but we'll get her on again. This is something that I really want to get involved with and try to help you move forward the mission and vision that you have. So I wanted to begin by allowing you to, again, not only just introduce yourself, but give us a little background of who you are and how you came about being with the Washington Community Development Center.
Absolutely. So as you introduced me as, my name is Jasmine Bruce. I am the marketing director as well as the community outreach director at We Are Washington. And I started, I want to say, in June of last year after I'd graduated from Arkansas Tech University graduate program with my master's and moved back home to Texarkana, where I'm born and raised.
Right.
I reached out to our founder of We Are Washington, Mr. Donnie Reed, and I said, hey, do you know anyone that would be hiring in Texarkana for marketing? I've just moved back home and I'm kind of looking for something. I know you have some good connections. Right. And he was like, actually, we are hiring. Send your resume here right now. So I talked to him. I actually had no clue what We Are Washington was. And I feel so guilty to say that because I remember coming into my interview and they were telling me about it. And I was like, wait, you're kidding. This is just right down the road. I grew up in Pleasant Grove on the Texas side here in Texarkana. And I was naive, I guess, had no clue what We Are Washington was doing. And the center was founded in 2017. And then, of course, not too far after that, COVID started. So for a few years, the center was kind of, I feel like, on the down low because COVID didn't give us, access to do what our mission was set out to do. So kind of a pause there, break time. And then now that COVID's been over for the last year and a half, we really have picked back up and getting the youth in our doors for completely free. And I'm so sorry, y'all. I think my dog hears me talking. And he's just fine. He's like, why is she inside and not letting me in?
You're fine.
But once he told me the mission of We Are Washington and what they do and how everything that they provide at the center is completely free to our community, I mean, it was a no-brainer. I said, I'm on board. Get me there. Let me go check it out. And I instantaneously fell in love. I remember the first kind of interaction I had with some of the students. A church from our city came and was doing like a little Bible study class. And they were filling out their little prayer jars and had an activity for them going on. And I was helping some of the little kiddos spell their prayers out to put in their jar. And this little girl, she puts her hands up like this and she looks up at me and she goes, can I go home with you? I just knew I was in that moment. I knew where I was supposed to be. And I was, God placed me to be there at We Are Washington for a reason. I moved back home for a reason. And I feel like this being involved with We Are Washington and helping grow our mission and helping the youth that we serve is why I was brought back to Texarkana. We have about 25 to 60 students every day that come to us after school. And like I said, everything that we do at the center is completely free. We have life skills classes for the students, risk avoidance classes, sports leagues, all kinds of sports you could even imagine. We just finished our basketball league and we had over 40 teams.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes, sir. And we're about to start our T-ball league. So if you're interested in T-ball or if you're interested in coaching, let us know. But we just have so much going on. And not only for the youth too, we try to give back and give these resources and tools to the families of these children as well.
Okay. When we first were talking and I kind of did my research on your organization, one of the biggest things that I liked about the organization is the catchphrase, "We are Washington." That affirmation that kind of stands out for your organization. So when you say "We are Washington," what is it? Talk to us a little bit about the history of the Washington Community Development Center, how it came about, and how "We are Washington" is your tag phrase for getting people to get involved.
Absolutely. So first of all, a little bit of history about the development center is that school building. So we are the old Washington High School. That's
Okay.
what our facility is. So that was the first ever African-American high school in Texarkana. Years later, it became, obviously it was owned by the Arkansas side school districts, and they kind of repurposed it and used it for other schools, middle schools, all that kind of stuff. So it's been in the Arkansas school district's hands for those years until about when we bought it. So they had it up for grabs, and Donnie had this idea. He's always had this idea of having a community center. And when that became available, he was like, well, here's my opportunity. So he bought it. We, did some renovations and all that good stuff. And now it's a whole school dedicated to serving the youth of Texarkana, which I think is amazing. And I think another fact that people don't know about us is not only is Washington a community development center, but on one side of our building, we have dedicated that to completely giving the space and the resources to nonprofits in Texarkana to be housed there. So we house about 10 to 15 different nonprofits out of Texarkana. And essentially we're giving them a start and a place for free, completely free, that they get to use as their office space. And they essentially in return just have to provide classes and resources for our youth and our families. So we not only are we for the students, but we have nonprofits that help make our mission possible as well. We have Pathways there. We have Ground Floor Collective. We have ACTS. So many different nonprofits that are, part of the reason why we get to do a lot of the things that we do for our community.
Okay, that's great. That's really great.
Yeah.
In my research, I learned that your organization approaches based on 3 different key methodologies. So I want to try to give you a chance to do that breakdown. I read about it on your website, and those are some things, some key components that really impact or can impact and influence the community. So I want to give you a chance just to talk about those 3 key methods that you're using to get your mission and vision to the students and families into the community.
Absolutely. So life skills, obviously. So when we say life skills, we mean the risk avoidance classes, the health seminars, the having someone come in and give them haircut, having a barber come in and giving them haircuts. So these life skills classes to give these students the tools and resources they need to be successful in all components of life for free without charge. And I'd like to tell people, these kids, not all of them have access to a tutor after school, someone to tutor them for an ACT or for their STAR tax test. So life skills is one of our big ones. And then we have our recreation. So we have, like I said, the sports leagues that we give them access to, where we completely provide their uniforms, their travel, if we take them to go travel. And I mean, they're getting access to coaches that played in the league. So coaches that played collegiately, and young men. And we had some at our previous, that just ended, our basketball league. We had some of the A&M guys from Texarkana A&M, the Eagles basketball team, come over and coach them and ref the league and the tournaments and all that stuff. And the coach from their basketball team come over and watch the games. So recreationally, we're giving them access to these sports leagues and these just diverse experiences that they may not otherwise have access to. And then the third one is mentorship.
Gotcha.
So like I said, the coaches that we have, the volunteers that we have, mentoring these students to be their best selves, be their, essentially We Are Washington is their home away from home, their safe place, their place that they can come and grow into, the leaders of tomorrow in Texarkana, because that's what we want to do. We want to give these children and their parents the tools to be successful in life despite what they may or may not have.
Right. That kind of does tie into the next question that I have, is that how would you describe the identity of the We Are Washington brand?
Absolutely. So, and I didn't answer this earlier when you asked, but We Are Washington means the entire community is Washington. So when we say We Are Washington, that means you, that means, every single business on the Arkansas side or the Texas side, every single child at Pleasant Grove, at Texas Middle School, at Harmony, at Spring Lake Park, every student in this town, this is for them.
Right.
Every, family that, needs a place to take their kids to just have access to all kinds of things, to the life skills classes, to a cooking class.
Right.
We are for the people here at We Are Washington. We want everyone to feel welcome, and we want everyone to know that just because we are located on the Arkansas side does not mean you can't join us from the Texas side on the weekdays and on the weekend and come hang out with us.
That's right. I think that's really a key point with as we move into our revitalization of this community for both sides. I think we're in a unique position where, being in two states, the services that we have, whether it's community involved or a bank or a grocery store, we're growing up together, even though we're in one state. And I think the unique thing about it is that if we could provide a dual program that can serve both sides, that's going to allow our youth to grow, going to allow families to grow, going to allow our community to grow, so we can be able to get back to where Texas County used to be. I often tell my guests that we were once, both sides, a thriving community where we didn't have a lot of blight. We hit all of our schools was at the top level, and I think with the addition of like the leadership that we have on Texas side, the leadership that we have with you and Ms. Madeline and your director at Washington, as well as the new leadership that we have coming in at the Texas County Arkansas School District, that's going to be three components that can allow our community to grow. I know I can attest to the young man that's coming in to be the Arkansas side superintendent, because I had opportunity to go to school with him. He's my friend, brother. We're both Reddies, so I think the things that people like you and him are going to do in this community is going to allow our community to grow. So I wanted to also ask, what are some of the things that you're doing in the community for the youth and families? I know you got the youth sports, you have the life skill classes, but you also need assistance from the community to help grow Washington. So what are some of the events or programs that you have going on where the community can come out of this?
Absolutely. So a lot of times people will come to me and ask, like, what can we do? We want to get involved and we want to support, but how can we support? Because we're not only looking for financial donations for this, part of my job is to do the hard part of going out and asking for donations for the school. And that's not an easy job, let me tell you. And it's not the most fun job, but I do it because, because we are allowed to keep our doors open for these students and be completely free. It is more inviting. It's more inclusive. It gives more of an opportunity for all sorts of children from all sorts of different backgrounds and cultures and religions and school districts and ethnicities to come and walk through our doors. But one way that, if you can't support financially, one way that you can make a difference in the lives of these children is showing up to the events that we have. In December, Madeline and I actually hosted our very first We Are Washington Jingle Jog, which is a 5K race.
Okay.
Benefits were all the proceeds were benefiting We Are Washington, and we were told actually when we started that race, because we wanted to do it on our own, we said let's do this, let's do an event. So we came up with this idea, and we were told, for your first race in Texarkana, expect about 25 race runners signups. Well, we had 180 people sign up for our race.
Big turnout.
It was amazing. We had it at Spring Lake Park, not too far down the road from We Are Washington. But I mean, the amount of support and really most of it, I would say, was from more Texas side residents. And so before we started the race, we gave our whole spiel about the mission of We Are Washington, and getting that awareness out is why we host these events. To be honest, we could care less about the monetary value that these events bring us. What it is really doing is spreading awareness and showing people and letting people know what We Are Washington is, first of all, if they haven't heard of it before, and really showing the difference that these events can do for the lives of these children. So we did the race. One of my favorite events that I've ever attended for We Are Washington and had the joy to be a part of was our Christmas Day, Christmas event. So a couple weekends before Christmas, we had a whole Saturday dedicated, and we had a multitude of churches come into the We Are Washington Center and do like a whole kind of what Christmas is about day. So they had the manger set up, and just taught them what is really the true meaning behind Christmas. So we had that. And then at the end of the day, we had a dinner, and we served over 300 individuals a Christmas meal, along with a service that a local pastor came and gave to, start the meal. And then we were able, by donations, by different businesses who had their employees donate, and just different citizens and community members that all came together. And we were able to give over 120 individual students Christmas presents. Wow. And I'm not talking about they all get one gift. I'm talking about they had piles and piles of Christmas gifts to open. It was miraculous.
That's amazing. I think that's the unique thing about living in a place like Texarkana, the Twin Cities, is that you'll find that a lot of the families on the Arkansas side and the families on the Texas side, they're connected. We fluctuate from each side. You might have lived over on the Texas side at one time. You might have lived on the Arkansas side or in Genoa at one point, or in Pleasant Grove. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to the support of the youth, I found that has been like one of the biggest things that people are more apt to do when it comes to youth and youth programs, to be able to support those things. So I think when you do those type of things, you're always going to have a big following from Texas, because more likely those people probably grew up on the Arkansas side, or they have families that grew over there. So they want to support and have that side grow just as much as what the Texas side grew. So I know we talked about earlier how the Arkansas side is still coming up to where Texas is right now. And I think with the work that you're doing, you're gonna be instrumental in getting us on the same footing, where people are gonna just see us as Texarkana, USA, and not just they're gonna stop asking what side are you from.
Exactly.
And growing up, they always ask you if you went off to somewhere, you tell them you're from Texarkana, I say, what side?
Mm-hmm. So, yes, been there.
So my goal is through this podcast is so people can see us as one entity, trying to serve one group of people.
Exactly. That's a big thing. And I applaud you for that being your mission and your mindset, because, it starts somewhere and then it trickles down. So
Right. So I know we talked about that the financial aspect is not like the overall focus of We Are Washington, but dollars help you do what you need to do, implement the program, to provide free assistance programs, to pay staff, to do all those things. So if I'm a business or organization or just a lay person, and I'm watching this, or I'm seeing your videos, or I see you in the community doing these great things, and I want to be able to take the philanthropic things that we do in my organization and be able to provide it to you, how do I get that to you? What's the process?
Absolutely. So first of all, I would say, if you were a business owner, have you heard of We Are Washington? And, I give the spiel of how there's youth in Texarkana that can benefit from your partnership. But I would say, when you follow us on social media, because I try to do a very good job about keeping our social medias up to date with all the things that are going on at We Are Washington. Every day, like I said, we have students there every day from 3:30 to 7:30 p.m. So we're constantly doing things, constantly doing different events and fundraising events, and just events for our students in general. So following us on social media, we have Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And I try to keep all of those platforms up to date with the things that we have going on. And then just supporting us in the way that fits you best. If you love to volunteer, head to our website. We have all of our volunteer opportunities on there. Our Facebook talks about all of our volunteer opportunities. You can come coach a t-ball team or a basketball team for girls or boys. But one of the most important things that I like to tell people is, of course, financial donations is where we're hurting with right now.
Right.
We feed the students every day after school a meal. We provide tutoring for these students. We have to staff our facility with qualified individuals that they're working with children. So we have to make sure that, we have qualified staff in that department, but also showing up and supporting the events that we host. Like we have in May coming up, the We Are One Gala. So that is going to be a auction, and a live auction and a silent auction. And essentially this is going to be a way that we tell the community what we're about, but also have a good time while we're doing it. So we're going to have some speakers at that. Another good way I like to tell people to get involved with We Are Washington is to come volunteer, come take a tour of the center. I love to take business owners and employees and everyone that doesn't know what We Are Washington is. I say, okay, meet me here Monday morning at 11 or 10 a.m. and let me show you what we're about. Let me show you all the great things we're doing, all the different classrooms we have set up to teach our children. We have a full kitchenette that we teach cooking classes in. We have a sewing room with 10 sewing machines.
Right.
We have a full playground and a full little t-ball field, and we have our basketball gym that's been renovated, and we're adding more as we speak right now. We're updating and we're revamping what we have going on at We Are Washington. And I tell you what, when people come and take a tour, the first thing they say is, wow, we had no clue what y'all, I mean, we've heard about it. We knew y'all were doing great things, but wow, we had, we could have never expected it was to this capacity. I mean,
Right.
Just come and see what it's about. Don't just hear and see what it's about on social media, because that's one thing. But once you walk in those doors and you see the students that we serve and the students that we get to love on every single day and the students that make Washington what it is, once you see that, I mean, it sells everybody on it. They don't even have to, they start thinking of ideas in the middle of the tour of like, oh, I would love to come teach a financial literacy class. I'd love to come teach an education class. I'd love to come teach a hair care class. It never fails when I get people that walk through that door for the tour for their first time. They start spouting out ideas of how they want to come back and volunteer with us.
Right. That's wonderful. You got to get them in the door. Once you get them in the door, you got them hooked.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's one of the things that drew me to want to kind of reach out to your interview, because I had heard of the Washington High School, but the most interaction that I've seen is when I start seeing those Facebook posts. When I saw a little video of the students that you serve talking about their experiences, and everything, it's constant. I'm like, okay, let me check this out. And then I researched it and I reached out to you and said, I got to get you guys on to talk about the amazing things that you're doing with the youth. I'm passionate for doing stuff for youth, community development, things of that nature. So that's what drew me to it. I think overall the people in the community are. So with all the different programs you have, what's your age range? What do you do? Pre-K through 8, or do you go all the way to senior level kids? What's your age range?
So right now, I feel like we are more equipped to hold about, I want to say, first grade through fifth grade. I think back in the day, they used to try to do older students, and it got a little bit hectic. And so they said, okay, let's take it back a little bit and let's kind of focus on those kind of kindergarten through or first grade through about fifth grade. But I will say, when it comes time to summer or it comes time on the weekends, and we have some of our students that have younger siblings that they may have to watch at home, that if they don't come to the center and can bring in their students, then they can't come at all. We will never turn anyone away at We Are Washington.
Right. Okay.
And saying that, we do have registrations for if you want to sign your student up online on our website, where you just go to our website. It says register your student, and they can register and attend We Are Washington on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, whenever y'all feel like it, on a weekend. But you can find that on our website.
Yeah, this would definitely be something if my girls were younger. They're 22 and 20 now, that we would have probably had them involved in, because we had them over the summer after school. They were at the Boys and Girls Club. So when we lived in Conway, so that's what they experienced, all the different programs for Boys and Girls Club. Yeah. I know I was talking with you a little earlier about my youngest daughter, how she's kind of doing some of the stuff you're doing as a program aide with the Caddo Area Council Boy Scouts. So yeah. So I'm going to tell her about you, because her degree is business marketing. So
we can bring her over to the center, and I can tell her all about what I do over there.
Yeah, she just did her first lesson plan today with I think a group of first graders, or I forget their age range, but she was excited about it.
That's awesome.
So with all the great things you're doing, we're growing. I don't know how long you're going to be there, but the time you're doing it, you're making an overwhelming impact on these students. So in 5 years, what impact or presence do you want WCDC to have in this region, not just in Texarkana, but in this region, for the families and youth that you're serving right now?
I think that's an easy question to answer, but also hard because there's so many different ways
Right.
that I know We Are Washington is impacting not only our community, but just, the youth here. One way that I see us really making a difference in Texarkana is we are shaping and giving these youth that are, like I said, first through fifth grade, we are giving them the tools and the resources that they need to be leaders. So we actually have what we call the Washington Leadership Academy. So we had a interview process, a whole application process where we had students apply, and these students were handpicked and interviewed, and they are essentially the leaders of Washington. So they are given the tools and resources to really find what they're passionate about in our community, find what they're passionate about at the center, and make those changes and kind of use their creativity to better the center, but also to learn what it means to kind of, take the lead in life and in projects. And I think that right there just sets the tone for how the rest of their careers or their education is going to go. And that's one way.
Right.
The other way is I think it gives these younger kids, a safe space. And I say that because, and this is with adults as well, you never know what's going on at home. You never know what's going on at school. But they come to We Are Washington and they don't have to worry about a single thing outside of our doors. They don't have to worry about, if their food after they get off school. Because I remember at that age, I was always starving when I came home from school. You play all day, you learn all day, you eat at 11, sometimes 10 in the morning. And then, your parents may have to work till 7 p.m. So you may not get to eat dinner till later. So we feed them when they get from school. I know personally, growing up at that age, so young, my family didn't really have access and resources to tutors. We didn't have the access to go pay $100 a week for tutors or for daycare. My mom was a single mom working 2 jobs to make sure that we had what we needed to, and that we could be involved in sports and cheer and dance and all that stuff. But not everyone has access to that. So we're making sure that no matter the background, that these younger students have access and tools to be the best that they can be in life all around, not just in sports, not just in the arts, but in the classroom, outside of the classroom. We're enhancing their education that they're already getting at the schools here in Texarkana and making sure that they're supported, they feel safe, but they also have mentors that can help guide them in life and give them kind of that big sister, big brother feel of like, you have someone that's counting on you. You have someone that is rooting and pushing for you, and you have a place in We Are Washington to really grasp onto and indulge themselves in all kinds of different activities that they may not otherwise have access to.
Oh man, I tell you, the assignment that you have and the way that you're going about that assignment is amazing. You're impacting a lot of lives. Again, I just see it when you post the information that you post, the videos, and then I can tell from the passion that you have when you talk about the work that you do, the work that Washington is doing for the youth and the communities in it and the families in this community. So, man, you keep it up. You're going to have more people coming to help you than you need, which is always a good thing.
That is very true.
This has been an amazing conversation, which I knew it would be, because just by watching and some of the videos, I knew it would be. I saw the passion from some of the stuff that you're doing. And so before we close, what else do you want us as the overall greater Texarkana citizens, whether we're in Beverly, Smith Keys, wherever, what do you want to tell us about Washington? To say, hey, we need to get over there and get that tour so we can get involved. What else? Because you told us a lot.
Oh man, I can tell you so much. I'm a talker, if you can tell. But one thing I would, if I just had a few sentences to say to the entire community of Texarkana, I would say, here at We Are Washington, we are pushing every day to make sure that these students in Texarkana want to come back home after they graduate, want to invest in Texarkana, want to see this place thrive. But it starts with the adults here. It starts with the business owners. You have to invest in Texarkana to help this place grow. And that means investing in our youth here. And
Right.
Mayor Washington is the perfect way to invest in our community so that one day our kids and our grandchildren see this place as somewhere that they want to come back home to and not somewhere that they dread and tell their friends, oh, I'm never moving back home to Texarkana.
Right.
We have youth here that are, natural leaders and natural stars and natural athletes that kind of are hidden and pushed to the side or overlooked just because of where they're from or what side of town they're
Right.
on.
Right.
Businesses that, especially local businesses that, they're grown here in Texarkana. One thing that Mr. Donnie always teaches us and my mom always taught me to is you give back to your community.
That's right.
And We Are Washington is the perfect place. When you give back to We Are Washington, you're keeping it local. You're investing in your city. So if you come into We Are Washington, even simply just sharing a post that we've posted on our Facebook page, sharing a photo, liking a photo, commenting on a video we've posted, you're doing so much to help spread our mission that we can't thank enough for the people that interact with our social media. And if you can't donate financially, if you can't come volunteer and you can't come see what we're doing here, that's an easy way that you could help spread the word and spread the mission of our center.
Well, I can tell you, Miss Jasmine, you definitely have us on board to getting involved. I'm going to get with you to get out there and get a tour, so I can see what, like you said, people walk through and they already thinking about what they can do, already thinking about how it can assist. So,
Absolutely.
So that I got a passion for this. So I really appreciate you for coming on. Anything that we can do to assist with you and Mr. Donnie, Madeline, the work that you're doing, your teachers. If I could be of assistance, feel free to reach out to me and let me know and say, hey, I need some help with this. Are you available? And if I can, I will. If I don't, I can get somebody that can help us.
Well, that means a lot.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as I thought, this has been a great conversation for our podcast tonight. We're going to get Madeline back on so we can get her introduced and be able to get your director on so we can meet him as well.
Absolutely.
So we can get the whole group on so we can let people know who's behind all the great work that's going on with these youth and families, and not only just on the Arkansas side, but in Texarkana as a whole. So one thing I want you guys to pay real close attention to, as in the closing credits, there's going to be information about all the different events that We Are Washington have coming up through this weekend, all the way through their gala that's coming up in May, as well as information about how you can sign up to be a coach for their youth baseball leagues. I think if you can get involved that way, you're going to be able to want to do more as it relates to helping We Are Washington grow. So as we go out in the end, like I said, look at those credits and be able to figure out a way where you can pull some time from your PTO or your annual leave and go out and check them out. No, I'm going to do that. I'm going to pull my younger daughter and we're going to come over and check out what's going on to see how we can assist, because we're always looking for opportunities to do community service. So those are some things that you can go over and see how you can be of help to them, to help them grow. One thing I want you to look at before we end tomorrow, speaking of small business, business startups, tomorrow at Cross Ties, they're going to be having Pitch at Texarkana. I had an amazing conversation with Mr. Jay Davis last week. This is going to be a great time for you to go out and listen to some of the ideas that your fellow citizens have where they want to bring it to fruition in this community. It's going to be an exciting event. If you're a fan of Shark Tank, it's going to be on those lines. So come out. It's $10. We're going to link that information along with the We Are Washington information on our Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, so you can go out and get involved. So again, I'd like to thank Jasmine, your director, for allowing you to come on. Again, the light is on you. You're an amazing person that I've been able to talk to. And I think you're going to be one of the people who help spark that continued revitalization for the growth of this community. So in closing, Texarkana, what's your state of mind?
Thank you, Mr. Jamie. I appreciate you a lot.
Yes, ma'am. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.